you who may not yet have had the pleasure, I am the Snow Queen, Queen of the Snow Bees, Queen of the Snow. Anything really. I'm here today because something has recently occurred to me. It happened when I sat down to dinner of an evening. I realised that the plate in front of me was wet. I then began to hear a very faint drip, drip, drip. I looked directly above my head and I saw a constant drip of water coming from the ceiling and onto my plate. And of course I panicked. This has never happened before. I live in a palace made of snow and ice. It never occurred to me that these things could melt. My home was melting. My sacred place. My safe space. The icy walls that have been host to some wonderful child abductions was melting. I had to do something. I ran to my computer and after some frantic Googling, I stumbled across the phrase global warming and climate change. This incredible disaster could have been the end of everything. I had to do something. I fell down an internet hole of actions to take. One that stuck out to me was the idea of going vegan. I went back to my dinner, chicken pie, by the way, and I looked at it. I watched the waterfall for an inordinate amount of time, just thinking, contemplating, deciding. I thought, I really should eat this before the water makes the pastry soggy. So I did. But then I vowed that no animal product shall ever pass these frozen lips again. Not if I want them to stay frozen. It got me thinking about other areas of my life. For example, I once had a divine fur coat. This coat was delectable. It felt as though it had been sewn by angels and delivered in a package on a sleigh by gods. You know when something is so soft you can barely feel your fingertips as you run your lovely cold hands through it? It really is a shame that I couldn't ask the polar bear it came from for the fur care routine, because the poor little mite had to be killed for that coat. It was delivered to me by a group of my beloved snow bees. A flurry of little critters, who at one point were so strong and nimble that you'd think they were bullets cascading towards you. Now, they meander. They can barely hover above the ground. Once so white you'd think they were blue, now a tepid beige. My babies are melting. You don't realise how diabolical something is until it threatens to ruin your life. Similarly, you don't realise the profoundly positive effect these actions can have on you. Not only has a plant-based diet done wonders for my skin, but it has also limited the amount of talking plants there are in the world. Yes, I said talking plants. The exact same talking plants that guided that wretched little girl into my palace and took my charming abductee away from me. Busybodies. You have no idea how many children have frozen to death in my palace without those stupid little sentient roses interfering. It really is spectacular. They stop screaming once you boil them down into a soup. Not only that, but finding the children is so much easier now that I have a gaggle of polar bears to chase them into my lair. To think I used to wear them as coats when they make such excellent hunters. This new lifestyle has opened up so many opportunities for me to spread the good word of veganism to the people. Polar bears chase adults too. I have had visitors from all ages and walks of life run in terror through my doors. I grab one of my bears by the reins and sit them in front of the startled stranger. The person looks at my bear and I can see their eyes widen, their bodies freeze. They're petrified. I grab one of my bears by the reins and sit them in front of the startled stranger. I promise, all it takes is a simple sit. They're much more easily trained than you'd think. The person looks at my bear and I can see their eyes widen. Their bodies freeze. They are petrified. Then I place a vegan treat next to the bear. The person looks at the bear and the treat, and their petrification melts into utter confusion. It's perfect. It's exactly where I want them. Then I give them an ultimatum. I tower above them. I pierce their eyes with mine. And I say, you have two choices. You can either fight, kill, and eat one of my polar bears, or you can have this vegan treat. But be warned, one of these options will cause you certain death. I have never seen someone go vegan so quickly. To see their little mortal faces as they tuck into whatever vegan delight I've so kindly offered them really does make everything I do so worthwhile. I get such a high from seeing the wide-eyed disbelief a vegan sausage roll can cause. Sometimes all it takes is for a person to stare directly into the fearsome growling jaws of animal agriculture. If the planet continues to heat at the rate that it is, my home will be destroyed. All of my babies will melt. My reign will be over. Who knows what will happen to me? I am not the one who should be here forcing you to do something about this. People in hot climates will never have to deal with the effects of this as strongly as I do. I am melting, for Christ's sakes. And yet, even I am here, finding the time to spread my message. What are you doing? I don't mean to come here and preach to you. Truly, I don't. But it's just so frustrating when people just won't listen. They won't even hear me out when they're kidnapped. I'm tired of having to freeze people to death when they try to escape. I'm so tired of having to swap out all of the fish in the fishermen's boats for screaming roses. It's exhausting having to swap chicken soup in the bowls of sick people for ice-cold water. I've had enough of killing farmers' livestock and replacing it with massive blocks of tofu. Oh, their livelihoods, they'll die, they say. What about me? What if I die? I do it because I care. I do this for the world. Why won't the world do this for me? Fairy tale villains are people too, you know. We deserve non-melting homes where we can commit unspeakable acts. For those of you that are good, you are branded the title of hero. And that title, while I sit in my luxury ice palace, surrounded by my army of loyal polar bears, waiting for my next victim, I feel that you do not deserve. So please, hear me out. Here I have a vegan treat. Snowball is just through those doors, waiting to make his entrance. He's looking extra toothy today. Such a handsome boy. who's going vegan today?